Hey, hey, Sagittarius, happy January and happy 2020. I am so excited to see you and very, very much even more excited to see what is going on for you in the month of January. But before we do that, I want to give you a little astrological advice. So currently there is a Platter. Wow, talk about a conjunction. That's a Pluto-Saturn conjunction. There's a Platurn conjunction happening in your second house, which is your house of money and values. So Pluto and Saturn together, both of them are very intense planets. And actually, if you want to read more about that, you can check out your horoscope. I write them over on writteninthestars.co. But essentially, which is a good word for Pluto and Saturn together, they are getting to the root of how you support yourself, both literally and figuratively. So how, yes, you make your money, how you produce for yourself, but also how do you support yourself in other ways? How do you value yourself, and do you? You know what I mean? There could be some rigorous self-questioning going on about the way that you take care of yourself, and you might be feeling the pressure to make some changes there, whether that means like balancing your budget or kind of reparenting yourself and making sure that you're keeping things supportive. Okay, let's get into your cards. Let's see what Spirit wants to tell you in this sense for January. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's what we like to see. Shit. Okay. There it is. All right. Don't worry, Sagittarius. I'll put your cards up in just a second. And you can see the beauty that I am seeing. Yow. It's a good yow. Interesting. Okay, Sagittarius. Talk about balance. Talk about knowing and keeping the essentials. You have a pretty great reading here. You have one little point of contention, and we're going to talk about it. But everything around you, this is the phrase that Spirit is giving me, is conspiring to bring you a new sense of balance. The Ace of Cups is beautifully anchored and crossed by the sun at the center of your reading. These are two of the cards that it's like, I love to see these in a reading for anyone. The Ace of Cups itself is love and an abundance, a rush of new love into your life, a rush of ecstasy is actually what Spirit is saying. So some of you may find yourself quite overwhelmed by either an offer or exclamation of love, of appreciation. And you know, this is a general reading, Sagittarius, so for some of you that could come in the form of romantic love. For others of you it's like, and this is really interesting and specific, but this is what they're telling me, is for some of you it may be like the non-verbal child gives you a drawing of what you mean to them, and it's like a rush. The sun is positivity, understanding, clarity, and vision. Something to really love about yourself, Sagittarius, something I really appreciate about your sign is your optimism, your positive outlook. They're giving me the echo of this Helen Keller quote, and I desperately don't want to butcher it, so I'm going to completely paraphrase it. But she basically says that, you know, pessimists never change the world. They don't believe anything's possible, so how are they going to change it, right? It's people like you. It's people with big hearts and open minds that can change things. And I feel like a lot of you have a mission to do that. A lot of you have a message that you want to put out. They're telling me literally, some of you, it's like a foundation that you want to build. And I mean that literally and figuratively. I mean that for some of you it's like, I want to create this kind of nonprofit or this kind of business or this kind of foundation that will support people. Maybe some of you, it's a nonprofit or a shelter, I don't know, but like some of you are really, really thinking about like how to heal the world, and that's a really beautiful thing. So just thank you. Your efforts this month are very meaningful in multiple ways. I feel that some of you might experience moments where you feel less hopeful than you normally do, or you may feel a little bit left out or cast like aside, a little unsupported. And it's really interesting that you have that Five of Pentacles crowning your reading when Spirit was kind of going out of their way to talk about money and the way that you support yourself or not in like a multitude of ways. Well, the Five of Pentacles is that card of feeling unsupported. So it's like either some of you may feel like I don't have enough money. Some of you may feel like I don't have anyone looking out for me, or not the way that I want them to. And some of you may get the feeling, and this is what Spirit is saying, is that like, you know what, this situation just isn't working. And this isn't for all of you. But Spirit is saying for some of you, it really is like, I'm coming to the conclusion, and it's not making me terribly unhappy. I mean, like, there's a lot of optimism and love and new beginnings heralded here. So it's strange, but it's not even making me that unhappy, that I'm recognizing that, like, for some of you, it's like, I'm never going to get what I need from this. Like, this isn't going to give me what I need. This structure, this job, this person, for some of you. So you know what? I'm going to take this new offer. I'm going to take a journey. The Six of Swords is below that, saying that a lot of you, like I said, have already come to this conclusion of, you know what, I need to move on. And the Five of Pentacles may be the vestiges of, I have left it behind and I'm still like hurting, or it may be the, like I said, the realization that, you know what, I gotta go. And wherever you find yourself in that journey of seeing that with the Sun, again, crossing that Ace of Cups, it's like, there is something so much better for me. There is a wonderful kind of support and sweetness coming in for you, Sagittarius. I love to see a Page of Cups showing up after that Five of Pentacles, saying like, well, if you thought for a second that you weren't going to be supported, here come words of support. Here come words that help bring you back into balance with yourself. Temperance is actually your card in the tarot. Not balance as much as flow. You know what I'm saying? The kind of balance that can only come from the constant, that mutability, that adaptability that you have, you know? And you yourself are a sweetheart and an optimist. Some of you have somebody very strong looking out for you. I feel a very paternal presence. For some of you, this paternal presence could be on this side, but for some of you, I'm very definitively feeling this is a paternal presence on the other side. That King of Swords is, like what they're telling me, is brilliant and funny. And I don't always get funny with the King of Swords, but they're telling me there's a brilliant and funny person who is looking out for some of you, this side or the other. If you feel like you need a little help with strategy or with getting real, kind of separating the wheat from the chaff, sorting your thoughts out, this King of Swords could be very, very helpful. So here's a few things to know who that is. King has nothing to do with gender, although, like I said, I do feel like a father figure for some of you. This person could just as well be a woman or be anywhere on the gender spectrum. The thing about a King of Swords is it is a person who knows themselves very well, knows their principles very well. You think of this person as somebody with, like, you know, the epitome of like honor and integrity and honesty, and also intelligence. So you go to this person when you want a really discriminating, honest opinion, insight. I am seeing a journey for you, Sagittarius, and kind of a homecoming. And Spirit is saying for some of you that does have to do with a literal like arrival to a place that is known as home. For some of you, that homecoming is a place that you've never been before, but it's going to be like, wow, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. And that could be, again, a location. That could also be an organization. The Four of Wands is showing up as what is around you or available to you. And the Four of Wands is the happy home, the celebration. And I'm also feeling that there's a milestone for some of you coming up, like anniversary, some kind of special date, some kind of special, like we hit this marker of success or we hit this step in our plan. And I would say be careful, like celebrate every little win. Okay, so even if it's a small one, even if it's something like this, and this is what they're saying, even if it's, I said I would jog 3 times this week and I fucking did it. You need to like throw yourself a little mini party and make sure that you really acknowledge and celebrate those little wins, because those are the ones, like that's the way we allow them to multiply into the big ones, okay? There's a real sense of belonging and there's a sense of order. You have the Four of Swords sitting in the present position, and the Four of Swords is, like I said, it's getting our thoughts in order. And that King of Swords could be very helpful for some of you. But I also feel that you're getting clear about what your message is. You're getting clear about what it is that you want to put out into the world. Four of Swords is telling you to take some time for quiet reflection, for prayer, for meditation. And for some of you, if neither of those things appeals, which no judgment, totally understand, the Four of Swords could also be a journaling moment or an exercise where you do like what they call a brain dump. And if you're feeling at all overwhelmed or at all like, I don't even know what to do at this point, take a moment to write it all down. And so it's like you're getting it out of your head so that your brain gets the subtle message of like, we don't need to keep going over and over and over this, because I know that I have a notebook where I wrote down all the shit that I need to do or that I'm worried about and need to take care of or I'm afraid, whatever. Like brain dump that shit. And then maybe you go back in, not maybe right away. Maybe you take a day, maybe you take a lunch break, you come back to it, and then you start to prioritize that brain dump. Some of these things, maybe it's like, I can't do anything about this, or I'm already working on this, okay, so let's set that aside. These are the 2 or 3 things that really need my focus, and that if I could change them, if I could get this in order, it would become so much easier to take the next steps. So if it's as simple as my house is a mess right now and I'm going crazy and all the other things that are falling on top of my head, it's hard to even consider because my house is a mess or whatever. Clean up your fucking house. Step 1. Back to the basics. In fact, I feel like keeping it simple and keeping it basic is what is actually going to bring you that sense of clarity. And it's like the first steps forward are really what open the roads. It's not thinking and thinking and thinking, it's taking the step. So do the thinking, but then take a little bit of action, a little imperfect action, a little step forward, and then see how the next steps sort of reveal themselves to you. Like I said, I do feel like somebody may let you down a little bit with their immaturity or with their inability, we could just say it that way, to follow through or to fulfill you in certain ways. There are some wins, some offers, some this is interesting. Spirit said acceptances that are coming up that are going to make your work feel well worthwhile. Inner and outer work, okay? Be your sweet self. Be open. Be adaptable. Again, I'm hearing go back to the basics. And what I'm also hearing, Sag, is to stay in your body. And what do they mean by that? It's like the same thing as go back to the basics, except with our beautiful biological machine. Am I giving you enough water? Am I giving you enough sleep? Am I giving you too much of anything? Like, that's what I'm hearing, is like a little bit of moderation. So if I'm watching too much TV, if I'm drinking too much, if I'm eating something that I know is not good for me, or whatever, like, I'm just kind of feeling like we want to aim for order, for basics, for clearing, for moderation. So we're not so much adding things as we want to be taking them away at this moment. There's going to be plenty of new and beautiful, like, emotion and opportunity rushing into your life. So let's make room for it by cleaning out old thoughts, old problems, getting clear on what we want so that we invite in what we want. Because you are definitely inviting in some new and beautiful options and opportunities and recognition. I think you're going to be seen and appreciated for what you do this month. So if you're worried about a lack of support, look toward first supporting yourself and see how powerful you are, Sagittarius, that when you change the way that you treat yourself, you also change the way the world treats you. If you have a little bit of a problem with asking for help, it could be that people read from you that you don't need help. You know, that maybe it's not that they don't see you or that they don't care, but that they think that you're doing great on your own and you've got it all covered. They couldn't possibly need help. If you want something, ask for it and then notice how you get it. And if you don't get it, then that tells you what you need to know about the person or the institution, and then you can make new decisions. Because it looks like regardless of how that turns out, something and someone, you could say the universe, is conspiring to bring you a fresh new cup, a fresh new beginning, and a place where you're going to feel clear and warm and supported. So what are you doing, Sagittarius? How are you bringing your life into order? What are the basics you're getting back to, or the moderation that you're working on? Hey, maybe this is even like a New Year's resolution thing. Maybe some of you are halfway through the month like, ooh, this is my dry January or whatever. Like, but let me know. I would love to hear stories, questions, comments, advice for your fellow Sagittarians, whatever you got. I appreciate you very much, Sagittarius. Thank you for being here. I hope that it's helpful. And if I don't see you before then I hope I see you in your February reading. Bye, Sag.